Okay. So as usual, I'm going to start with the ritual of Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, a wonderful ritual that focuses your attention on what you're doing, the task at hand. So, so let me just share that I'm no expert on the things that I'm going to talk about, but yes, I know more than a lay person, and I probably know as a designer enough to be able to look at these systems and apply it for myself. So those who have sort of seen the first part, uh, what I had done was basically ask this question, and this is what I have gone through. Uh, One second, I think there is a noise from someone. Achita sir, I think it's, yeah, sorry. But I couldn't hear myself speak over that. So is there such a thing as Indian design thinking or methodology? I mean, as an IDC designer, as an Indian designer, this is a question that I think most of us would be asking. And over the years, I went through a lot of things. And last presentation, I basically used music as a representative domain to sort of share my learnings from it. And more or less, the biggest learning was about uh, trying to understand how these knowledge systems are developed. And what you see is that all these systems are based on some basic principles of understanding. Okay. And those basic systems are deeply rooted in us being human, our human experience. And these basic principles allow us to understand a whole lot of stuff. So there is a huge landscape that has to be explored. Okay. Now, based on this landscape, depending on what specific stuff that we are doing, people have gone deeper and deeper. And this sort of a technique can be used in what we are doing as designers even today. And that was the biggest learning that I had, and I've been putting it into practice with whatever I do. So this is what I call a mile wide, inch deep approach, which means that you find out anything and everything that is connected to whatever that you're doing and get a big, deeper understanding of how all this is connected. And based on that, understand some basic principles that determine how everything works. Now, on the basis of this basic principle, then when you are working on a specific project, you can go deeper into it, which I call as an inch wide, mile deep approach. That means it's not very broad, but you are totally focused on that particular area and you find out more and more and more and more about it. Okay. So whatever the design solution that you come out with not only works for what you intend to do, but also in the larger picture, it fits into the whole ecosystem that it is a part of. Okay. And this, I think, is a sort of principle that works for generally all sorts of design, not just the sort of design that I was involved in. So I thought it was very important to share. Now, today, what I'm going to do is sort of go deeper into some other systems. Now, what I have learned is that whatever that I'm learning each time, what fascinates me is how all these things seem to be informing something else. So I'll start with mythology. One of the things that really hit me when I got out of IDC. Like, I always had this dream of making animation films on the wonderful mythological stories that India has. And by always, I mean literally from my third standard, from at the time when I decided to become an animator. Okay. So I've been always sort of on this journey of making mythological films. Now, the question is, as I grew up and as I became a designer now, and as I learned animation, it's a lot of work, So the question is it worth it to make films on mythological stories? What is their importance beyond just being, a part of our cultural heritage? Is there any more importance to it? Why should I spend time making films on these? And I must have, hopefully most of you all have seen the clip that I shared, and if not, please take a look at it after the lecture, because here I won't have the time to go play all these clips individually. That will take all my talking time away. What I realized is, thanks to this great personality, a great person called Joseph Campbell, he wrote a book called The Hero with 1,000 Faces. And there's also a wonderful interview that is the one that I saw first with Bill Moyers on the hero's journey. And his work on mythology around the world, and especially India, gave some insight into what the function of mythology is. Now, Campbell was very familiar also with Freud and Jung's work, in psychology of dreams, and how dreams play a part in helping a person deal with various problems in his life. Why dreams are important. And he made this wonderful statement. The myth is a public dream, and a dream is a private myth. What this means basically is that a mythological story is shared by many, many people. And it's about this hero's journey. But the hero in the story, if delivered in the right way, becomes the person who is experiencing the story. And the conflicts and the troubles and trials and tribulations that the hero goes through, in a sense, the viewer or the reader will also go through it. And then somehow, along with the hero, he also can reach another level in his life. This transformation that happens in the experience of the mythology is very, very critical. That is one of the reasons also that many of these mythological stories are told in specific sort of ways. For example, the Ram Leela. The Ram Leela is basically, you actually have this whole mythology of Ram being told across 10 days, especially at night when everybody is sleepy, where the logical part of your brain is sort of, taking a backseat and allows you to experience in a much more immersive fashion the whole mythology that has been shown to you. And in these 10 days, you're taken on a journey, which at the end of it, when you come out, and then you go back to your actual life. And the sort of transformation that it helps each person becomes a sort of a social psychiatrist. What Freud and Jung were doing with psychoanalysis, mythologies have been doing it with entire communities. So this actually gave me the thing that mythologies have a role and it is worth making stories. But do I need to make the same stories, or can I make new stories? I mean, by the time that I got into the business of animation and wanted to do films, there were like many studios in India who wanted to make feature films and stuff on mythological stories of India. So it almost became a sort of a factory where these stories have been put out. And obviously, most of these people who are making these films have not gone into it in terms of the relevance of these mythologies the way I did. So I did not see the point in Rabi being this one more guy. So I was thinking of, can we make modern mythologies? Okay. Incidentally, over here, let me just share with you, Joseph Campbell was a consultant to George Lucas on Star Wars. Okay, so whatever he has learned from Indian mythologies, he has sort of transferred it to George Lucas, and you can see the effect that Star Wars has as the cult following that you can see around the world today. It sort of establishes the relevance of modern mythologies. But yet, is it really possible to develop new stories with what we have learned from mythologies? And will they really work? Because mythologies have stood the test of time in a culture. You know, like Ramayana is not born in a few years. Mahabharata is not like just suddenly appeared one day. And it has gone through generations and generations and generations of Indians, okay, and now the world. So there must be something that one can figure out to basically test the sort of stories that we have, we can create. So that we can say that, yeah, what a mythology would do for society, maybe we can also. But is it do I wait for 100, 200, 300 years to figure out whether it does the same thing? Or is there other way that you can at least look at the story and say, yes, this has the potential. Okay. And that is where it brought me to another system of knowledge in India, which is called the chakra system. The way I came to chakra system was totally independent of this search for a testing method for mythology and mythological stories. But once I came to know more about the chakra system, it sort of gave me an idea of, yes, we can probably use this because this makes sense. Now, what is the chakra system? Now, as you must have seen in that clip from this animated series called Avatar, there are 7 major chakras in the body, which are aligned along the spine. And these chakras apparently are oscillating discs of energy. Now the question is, do they really exist? I mean, you take, a scan, an X-ray of the body, or you actually dissect a body. Can you get these chakras? Well, they don't exist. So then, what is this chakra system, and how can it make any sense if it is totally fictional? The question is it fictional? More than fictional, it is a way of understanding how the human body works. And when I say human body, okay, in the Indian systems, human body is not one body. There are various ways of looking at the human body. It is not that they are separate either, because they all work together. You have the physical body, you have the intellectual body, you have the emotional body, And you have what is called as the energy body. So even in yoga, you will find that each of these have a different sort of yoga that goes along with it. For the physical body, you have got Hatha Yoga, which is what is considered yoga for by most of the world. These poses and exercises. For the intellectual body, it is called Jnana Yoga. For the emotional body, we have Bhakti Yoga. And for the energy body, we have various breathing techniques and meditation and stuff like that, pranayam and all that, which is called as Kriya Yoga. Okay. So these are sort of systems that work with the body, and all these are very much part of the chakra system, and they are based on the chakra system, understanding of it. Okay. What is the chakra system? Now these 7 chakras, starting from the root of the spine to the crown. Okay. So there is the root chakra or the Muladhara chakra. Then you have at the navel, which is the Swadhisthana. Then you have at the solar plexus, okay, which is Manipur. Okay. And then the heart chakra, which is Anahat. Then there is the throat chakra, which is the Ajna chakra. And then there is the third eye, Vishuddha. And the 1000 petals chakra, which is the Sahasrara chakra or the crown chakra. Now what you can see, if you see on the right hand side of the screen, okay, these have certain representations of your human experience. The first one is absolutely the chakra that you need to be simply alive. So you can also call it the survival chakra. It's your survival, what you call as a survival instinct comes from this chakra. So probably every living creature you can assume to have at least this chakra, because even an amoeba wants to survive. Then the second one is the sexuality chakra. The third one is the willpower. The fourth one is the heart, and you know what the heart does. Okay. The throat chakra, you know what the throat does. It communicates. And the third eye, you can see that all the senses are around it. Okay. So it is sensing the world. Your eyes, ears, nose, mouth. So this is basically your sense chakra. And basically it's not the sense as in just the input, but also understanding and analyzing that input and gathering information from it. And then, putting it in front of you in a way that you can apply it to your life. And the last one, which is, I don't know, probably the weakest chakra in today's society, is the crown chakra. And there are a lot of people who are very spiritual, but we need a lot more the way the world is going. So the crown chakra is your spirituality, how you're connected to everything around you, how you feel a part of this entire world. Now, as you can see, it goes from the absolute physical base chakra to the absolute spiritual at the other end. Okay? Now, another way of understanding it is also in the sense of how we grow. When you are born, even before you are born actually, when you are conceived in the womb, the first thing to be activated is the survival instinct. A fetus wants to survive. Okay? And then when you are born, the first thing that you want is the physical contact, the physical touch, the nourishment that you can get from it, which is when the second chakra gets activated. Now, as you're growing up, you are still very much bonded to your mother. You will see that kids won't wander away so easily. Even when they start walking, they will not go too far. They'll go a little distance and then come running back. But as you grow up and you develop confidence in yourself, your personal identity, physical personal identity, you become confident of walking, become confident of going further and further. Those very obedient, those people who are stuck to your pallu now start acting mischievous. So the wonderful twos turn into the mischievous threes and fours. So anybody who is here who has been a parent would have experienced that. Yes? This is the problem with an online presentation, that everyone is muted.
Yeah. Definitely, Sumant.
So, yeah. So, as you grow up further, you'll find that the kid will start making connection with friends. So they start going to school, they make connection with friends, and very soon that independence becomes another sort of dependence. So you'll find that kids will start making friends and they would want to spend more time with their friends than at home. Okay? So this is another sort of bonding, which is not a physical bonding, but is a bonding of the heart. So you have the activation of the heart chakra. But at this age, when one of your friends say that, okay, I like this. Yes, I also like this. There is a need to conform. Okay? You want to be part of everything with your friends. But as you grow up, you start developing your own voice, your own thoughts, and you can beg to differ. This is where you start expressing yourself as me. So this is your psychological identity or intellectual identity that you start, or the creative identity. You start developing your own thoughts, understanding, feelings of everything. And you are able to express it. This is where your throat chakra starts developing. Now, the other chakras are also developing at the same time, the other two, but not so fast, not so well. The abstract concepts that you start understanding, say, when you start becoming mature, are still not that clearly understood. You still have your senses right from day one. Okay, so your Ajna chakra is developing, but you start really understanding abstract connections between things from all the sensory inputs that you're getting to have a larger worldview. Okay, understanding of what is going on. Okay, as this chakra develops. Till now, you are very much an individual identity. But as you are connecting to everything in the world, and if you have a chance to spiritually develop yourself, you also see how you fit into the larger system. You stop seeing yourself as me, I, me, myself, and you see it as one large organism with which I am a part of. Okay? So, this is the sort of development that happens of any human being, provided, of course, this is a healthy development. Okay? So, if you look at it, your chakra 1 is simply the right to be here, to be alive. Okay? Chakra 2 is to feel, the right to feel. Chakra 3 is the right to act. Okay? You have the right to walk and move and go in any direction, even if your mother says, no, come back. Okay. Fourth is the right to love, to make emotional connections. Fifth is the right to speak, express, be creative. Sixth is the right to see. And here we are not talking about seeing with your eyes. Right to really see with all your senses. And the last is the right to know beyond yourself. So similarly, you can talk about the basic issues of each chakra. The first one is survival, sexuality, power, love, communication, intuition, and cognition. And as usual, as any Indian system, this is also connected to elements. Okay. And it will make wonderful sense what these elements really mean. Okay, we always talk about this Panchabhuta and stuff like that, and we sort of talk about the elements and things like that, and we say earth, water, fire, air, ether, and it's not enough to understand it in that aspect. When you understand it in terms of what they stand for, it gives it a different dimension. Earth is the physical aspect, the solid aspect, the tangible aspect. Water has a little more fluidity. Okay, it still has shape and form, but that can change. Okay, then you have fire, which still has form, but there is no actual tangible material. Okay, it's energy that's burning, but it has a certain form. Air, again, it is energy. In what we call air that we breathe is called prana or life. So air is life in that sense. Then you got the sound when you're talking. So that is a vibration. Now you'll see that sound and light are transmitted through air or even without any air. Okay, and thought. You can understand the intangible aspect of the top three as compared to the more tangible aspects of the bottom four. Okay, so these are the elements. And you'll see that these elements also have similar symbolic relationships in anything that, any other system that you can come across. Okay, this is a lot to take in, but I want to show you, and since this is getting recorded, you can always go and probably go a little more in detail if it's readable. I can share it if you all want to go into it in more detail. But I would like to get your attention to a few rows in this. Okay? Goals. So each chakra has a particular goal, or you can say what it helps you to be if you are healthy. Okay? Stability, grounding, physical health, prosperity, trust. Okay? And so on. Now, if I take you down here, you can see my cursor, right? Hello?
Yeah, we can.
Yes.
Okay.
Probably you can put a laser pointer, more predominant.
Yeah, no, the problem is in some places when I'm sharing screen, the cursor disappears. So I'm just confirming. Okay. So now the other thing is, other row that I want to bring your attention to is these excessive characteristics and deficient characteristics. So you have goals which are the normal or healthy characteristics, then excessive and deficient. What you should get from this is, there is this in the Western way of thinking, you want to be healthy, you have to get muscles, and the more muscles, the more healthy. Okay? You have to get more energy, you have to eat more proteins, you have to do this. This thinking of maximizing certain things. You want to make money. You want to make more and more and more money. This sort of thinking, which is there in many of the Western cultures, okay, that's not there in the traditional systems in India. What we have in our traditional systems is that we look for balance. There is a balance. More is bad, less is bad. There is something that is just right. Okay. So, excessive characteristics means that there's just too much energy stuck in this chakra. So, it is like your plumbing is blocked. Okay. The energy in your spine cannot flow because there is a blockage over there. And deficient character, you can think of as that chakra is so weak that it cannot retain any energy to dissipate into the body at that level. Okay. So that is a deficient chakra or a weak chakra. So if it is blocked or if it cannot retain energy, you will have various sort of results. For example, if the first chakra is blocked, then you have heaviness, sluggishness, obesity, or even it doesn't need to be obesity, it can also be underweight in specific circumstances, but largely, more commonly, it is obesity, hoarding, materialism, greed, right? Similarly, deficient chakra, it will be fearful, undisciplined, restless, underweight most often, okay, and basically lost. What am I doing here? Why am I here? Sort of a feeling, because you do not have confidence on your right to live, right to be alive. Okay, so like that, each of the chakras can have an excessive characteristic or a deficient characteristic. This gives rise to something very, very interesting for a person who is developing stories like me. Okay. For example, if I can just imagine, let me just talk about this in terms of a hypothetical case, and you will see that it's not that hypothetical. There's a little kid who's born out of wedlock and who has been rejected. So don't know who its parents are. So immediately you will find that that kid does not get the sort of support that it needs for developing chakra 1. It is already told that it is unwanted. So the first chakra becomes weak. It is unwanted. Now, because the first chakra is weak, and again, the absence of parents, absence of a mother. So the immediate need for physical contact, for nourishment, can result in the second chakra being weak. Which means that throughout life, whether making connections to anyone, any sort of physical intimacy, the person can be very, very scared. So frigid, impotent, emotionally numb, fearful of pleasure. Okay? Now, it could go the other way around. Because of a weak first chakra, there is a need for affection. So, the child can become very clingy to anybody who is willing to give affection. Or when you grow up, of course, you can turn out to be quite a promiscuous character, and or constantly wanting physical touch, physical contact, hugging, being close to someone. Okay, essentially a chipku character. Okay. So the reaction on your chakras could be either way. Similarly, if chakra 1 is weak, then Chakra 3 could be weak. You do not feel that you have the right to have something, own something, do something. Okay, low self esteem, right? Willpower is very weak. But on the other hand, you could also develop into a person who says, you know what? You're not going to give me anything, I'm going to take it. I don't care. I want this. And if I don't get it in a normal way, I will do it in any other way. This is mine. I will eat it. So the bully in school who will want to eat your lunch, all these guys, okay, you'll find that they have a blocked third chakra, excessive energy. So like that, I can make characters, whatever that I want, in terms of these chakra balances. Every time I decide, okay, like at random, if I say weak first chakra, weak second chakra, excessive third chakra, weak fourth chakra, excessive fifth chakra, weak sixth, weak seventh, I'll get a character. And like that, I can make millions of characters, and my understanding of the character is going to be phenomenal. Okay. Because that way of creating characters, that was quite fascinating to me. And there's another reason for it, which I'll come very, very soon. So what it basically shows now, what is it says is basically energy comes in through the crown. It goes all the way to the root of the spine. Okay. And from there, it spirals back out and leaves the crown. So there is basically energy that is flowing through your body all the time. Okay, this movement of energy has to be smooth. Now, the energy coming from the crown and going into the body is basically the pull of the body, and for a better word, body and soul. Okay, soul is the closest that you will get in English, and the other way is the pull of the mind and spirit. By the way, let me just share this with you. Most of this stuff has come from a book by Anodia Judith called Eastern Body, Western Mind. So she's basically a psychoanalyst and a psychiatrist who was fortunate enough to get knowledge about the chakra system, and she has been able to go deep in her study of the chakra system and compare it with the Western forms of psychoanalysis and psychotherapies. And this is an absolute wonderful book, which was an eye-opener for me. So I'll share the details with you guys on the chat later. Please remind me. Eastern Body, Western Mind by Anodia Judith. Okay, so these are mainly from her book. Okay, so that I should mention.
So, Sumant, we have about 15 minutes more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so these also give rise to various identities: physical identity, emotional identity, ego identity, social, and these would be very easy to understand now. Okay, so these are largely your physical stuff. These are your ego, and these are transpersonal, your interconnections with the world. Okay. Now, here's an example of one character. The father is very, very dominating. Okay. So much so that this character has to be like the father wants, and he doesn't have his own existence in a sense. Basically makes his second chakra weak. Okay. Or second chakra excessive. Okay, where he is wanting physical intimacy with all the time. Okay, going out of his way, being aggressively doing all sorts of things. Okay, and he wants. he wants to grab everything. He wants his business to be super successful, and for that he's willing to do all sorts of things, tax evasion and uh, you know overvaluing, undervaluing his business, doing this, doing that, a lot of things. Okay, excessive, because he wants to grab more and more and more. Okay, and he loves that his name is becoming big. Okay, so he likes that connection. He likes that people know him, people want to be with him, have connections with him. So people love him. That becomes very, very necessary for him for having a certain self-esteem. Okay, but and he loves to speak, express, say all sorts of things, but very weak in understanding the world for what it is, because he's so obsessed with what he wants, the way he sees things, that he's not able to correlate what he's seeing, what he's hearing, what he's feeling from all his senses and make sense of it. And this guy has no sense of the world. He doesn't feel part of the world. The world is mine for taking. Okay, so you give him that red button that you click to fire nuclear missiles, he probably will do it. Does this person sound a bit familiar? Is Praddy there? Praddy will definitely find him familiar.
Is this Kim Jong?
Yes, that is one definite character. Actually, Putin also probably might fit into this, but I don't know whether his first chakra is weak. Okay, but definitely, if you are looking at world news for the last 2 years, there's, in fact, for the last 5 years, there's this guy who is perfect for this sort of an evaluation of his chakras, who is Donald Trump. Okay, and you'll see what this would exactly be, the sort of evaluation of his chakras based on the way he's behaving and what you know of him. Okay, so interesting characters that can connect to real life, or you can create characters for your stories. Okay, so maybe the possibilities that the hero's journey, where you go start the journey at one thing, there's a call for adventure, you go have your adventure and you come back and you return at a higher level, is basically a transition from chakra imbalance to a more balanced state of your chakras. Okay. So if you can evaluate your characters, now you start with a character with an imbalance of chakras and you write a story where through the transition, through whatever journey that he does, okay, he ends up with a more balanced chakra. So the character actually undergoes transformation. Good stories always have this character transformation thing. Okay, so this makes it possible to evaluate your stories. So if you see that you designed a character that probably has this sort of a chakra status, and towards the end you can see that through whatever story you have created, he obviously has a more balanced state of his chakras, then it would probably work like a mythology, because whoever is watching and shares similar problems would identify with the character, and it would affect him in the same way or her in the same way. So this makes it possible to create modern myths that can work in similar ways as the old myths that have stood the test of time. So essentially, whether it is the stories or otherwise, the imbalance is either excessive or deficient, not just more, not just less. So weakness is not the only problem. Excessive is also a problem. Healing occurs by restoring the balance, bringing it back to the center. And the aim, unlike most of your Western systems, it's not to maximize. Not to maximize. Okay? Rather, to create the balance and create a smooth flow of the system. In this case, the system is your body. And with this balance, automatically you will have the ability to increase the intensity. When you are a balanced person, you can live a more enriching life, you can be better, you can be stronger, you can do all sorts of things. Okay. So one thing I want to mention is that you will see other Western systems, like this is the low end system where the physical characteristics have been connected to psychological characteristics. Okay. So I will go fast through this. So there are various characters and you can easily identify the sort of chakra characteristics that is equivalent of each of these characters that have been described. Or if you check out Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you'll see that at the bottom there's physiological needs. Then the needs of safety, nurturing, belonging or love, esteem needs. Okay, and then self-actualization. You'll find that this is very, very similar to the chakras that we have got. Okay, so you can have in Maslow's, there's also more stages, like at the top there is transcendence. Okay, which would then connect to the crown chakra and a little bit of the Agnya chakra. So what Enodia Judith has also done is she has compared this with all the many of the existing modern theories, okay, right from Freud to Maslow, Piaget, and various other people, and shown how this system holds no matter which of these theories that you take. So the universality, just like I demonstrated in music, you can see this universality here too. Okay. Now, the other part of it, though my approach was through stories, okay, health systems like Ayurveda, Yoga, Reiki, Pranic healing, acupuncture are closely related with this chakra system. Okay, they are based on that. A lot of them are actually based on that. So if you have done Reiki or something or yoga, you would probably be familiar with some aspect of the chakra system in that. Okay. But modern medicine too is more and more in acceptance of the inseparable link between the physical and mental health. Okay. They've still not totally integrated things like spirituality and all, but they understand the wonderful healing effects of meditation, and chanting and various other things, but not in terms of modern medicine. So, yeah, how much time do we have?
We have about 10 minutes.
Yeah, so actually let me go to question and answers, and I would have liked to do one more small exercise just for fun because it's very, very nice. Okay, most of my students already know it. I think Rushabh knows. What's his name? Saurabh. Yeah, no, he is aware of it, but it would be nice to share that also. So yeah, so this is my journey in terms of the chakra system and mythology, just like the music system, that I thought is a huge help as a designer of stories, but also in terms of designer of any system that deals with human beings. Okay. It's probably a little difficult in the short time I've told you how this would connect to something like product design or something, but it does. So I'm hoping that some of you all will take this further and see whether you all can do something in terms of a methodology where understanding of this can be used. Yeah. Okay. Open to questions. No questions?
Achta ji, you have a question?
Yeah, Sumant, I was just observing that wisdom power in our chakra system is physically positioned lower than, I mean, when compared to, I mean, the word interpretation of wisdom looks to a word only at the higher end of the master's need hierarchy, right?
Ye- uh,
So I don't know. I was just observing that.
Wisdom. No, I didn't get the question actually.
You
Sorry.
put chakra one is as wisdom power, or but you said as is willpower. So I don't know whether
No.
wisdom and
Willpower is different from wisdom.
but
Wisdom comes higher.
Yeah,
So,
but wisdom power is positioned very low in terms of
no. It's
physically, no.
no.
Graphical.
In my graphic.
In our
No.
system.
No. Yeah, this okay. This wisdom power. Okay. This,
So
this actually one of the techniques that I use in my lectures is I take stuff that is easily available on the net. So if somebody wants to go and search further, these become very eye-catching things that sir was talking about this, and they can go further. So this is actually somebody else's slide that I have taken. Okay. So this is actually, so I did not say wisdom power when I was talking about this. This is actually willpower.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I was wondering how.
Yeah.
It's very low in terms of hierarchical needs, right?
Yeah. It's willpower actually. Okay. So
willpower is also a determination kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So, but willpower is more physical. For example, if you want to be athletic, okay, you want to run a marathon, then you need willpower. Okay, if you want to become sort of excel at something, then you need willpower. Okay, so the power to actually achieve stuff, that comes over here, because often it is about me wanting something really to that extent. Okay, now this can be excessive. So people will be extremely competitive, then it is excessive. People will be scared to compete, then it will be weak. Okay, but people who say that I will give my best, win or lose, that would be healthy. So that's the way that the solar plexus chakra would be controlling your.
Yeah, I think, I mean, and it's too much of content in terms of the graphical representation that you made with so many petals. I hope so. So they also have some deeper meaning, right?
Yeah. These have deeper meaning. These are very well known symbols for each of the chakras. So I have just put it there because this is common in the sense that this is what people follow. So if you see universally followed symbols for each of the chakras, and they have meaning. They have got a deeper meaning.
Yeah.
So this is like the mandalas. When you're making a mandala, every line has a meaning, and you focus and concentrate on the line, so you understand what it is. So I have not gone that deep in my study personally into the symbols, but they have that significance. So each circle, each line, each triangle has its significance for each of these.
When do you think that Indian design education will follow this system?
I don't know about Indian design education system. I follow it with my class.
So ideally, when you could follow, right? Again, instead of come from the root of this country. Right?
Yes, I'm hoping that it will pick up, and the more people who find it useful in their design journey, the more it will be accepted as one of the important things of teaching. Mm-hmm. So in IDC, at least, we have the Indian thought and traditions. So this fits in perfectly into that. Okay, and since I use it for analyzing stories that I make, so it fits into my story writing sort of courses, where I'm basically telling people of how to write stories. So I feel that there is a relevance in design. acceptance, I don't know, but I think this is something that somehow, because an understanding of your chakras, even if it is a totally symbolic system, which it isn't, that is actually a practical system. For example, with people, if you can evaluate that there is a weak um, a sex chakra, you will also find, or the weak root chakra, you will also find that they will have various physical problems in the lower part of their body. Kidney problems and problems of indigestion and lower limb problems, those sort of things. So based on the chakra, you will actually find physical manifestation in that part of the body. Okay, so there are different ways and different reasons why you can look at this chakra system. So I think it needs to be part of universal education. It is, because ultimately I think even a guy like Donald Trump, if his chakras became balanced or in whatever way, he won't be the sort of guy he is, and the world will be a happier place.
Sumant, we might have one or two more questions.
Yeah, sure.
Sagarika, do you have a question?
Yes, so I wanted to ask you that when there's a chakra imbalance, what determines whether a person will have an excessive trait or a deficient trait? Is it random or is there a way to?
See, from the personality, from the health, from the way the person will stand and walk and talk, okay, you should be able to sort of evaluate the chakra imbalance. And if you know this well enough, you can probably evaluate for yourself. Okay, so that's the main thing. And whether it is excessive or weak, it obviously depends on how you are as a person. So sometimes you need somebody else to evaluate that, but maybe you don't. You can evaluate yourself. So in that way, that it really helps.
Okay, sir.
But in terms of stories, you will find all sorts of people watching your films. Okay, so you don't have control on their chakra imbalances. So mythological stories, you'll see, typically have lots and lots of characters. Okay, so even in Mahabharata, you'll have the Karna story, which is separate. You'll have the Duryodhan story, which is separate. Okay, you'll have the Bhim, Arjun, Yudhishthira stories. All are individual stories which are all intertwined. So you will invariably identify yourself as one of the characters with that chakra imbalance, and it will take you through a certain transformation. Okay, and then it's not one character, so multiple characters would be affecting you. So as far as mythologies go, you don't have to worry about that if the mythology is rich. Okay, so if you see in Star Wars, the same thing. There are so many characters, and each have their own journey. So it works as a mythology. Yeah.
So I was like thinking that in terms of designing a character, so if my character, for example, as you said, was ignored by his mother, so it is totally up to me to decide if he has an excessive trait or a deficient
Yes. Yes. If
trait. Okay.
he has an excessive trait, then he would be clingy. If he has a weak second chakra, he would be scared of physical intimacy. So that is the way that it would be. And if he is normal, then he won't either be clingy or scared. It will be normal.
Thank you, sir.
I hope the lecture made sense and it was not just something.
I think it's a.
It actually, it is a very, it excited me at least because I was out of, first batch, belonging to the first batch, and then, getting out of the, the deep studies into academics, was missing. I missed them, So now, for me at least, it's very refreshing you know, to live these moments. I'm telling you very honestly. Okay. And I hope, you know, that's what I asked the question. I hope, you know, one day we will have, you know, the design teaching done from the whole, the Indian point of view, you know, and then the world will accept. I hope so. Though it's a tremendous amount of work. Although I believe that this is already available, but it's to be hunted and put across rightly. That's all. This is what actually the task of future Indian designers will be. We don't have to follow the Western the learnings or teachings that they still continue to educate, use that as part of our education system.
Yeah.
It applies to every field. I do believe that we had a treasure of wealth of knowledge, only hidden somewhere. Need to be dug up and brought to the
Good. Yeah. So I'm seeing the chat messages. So thanks. At least I'm feeling that it was received a little. The context was not totally out there and sort of made sense to people. So
not at all.
Yeah, because this was a real eye opener for me. Because this chakra system was a real eye opener for me.
I think most of us confused this only to associate with yoga. So it was there in the peripheries, but nobody looked into it. As a character of a person. Probably no, it's not well published now.
So I'll just take 2 more minutes, though my presentation is over, so whoever wants to listen to it. One of the reasons that I really got interested in the chakra system is one of these esoteric healing systems, which is pranic healing. I was suffering from migraines, and the sister of one of the animators, Ajit Rao's sister, she is a pranic healer. Except I was in Bombay, she was in Chennai, and I was suffering from 24/7 migraines, unending, not stopping, severe migraines. And my blood pressure was fluctuating. It was low, but even then it was fluctuating constantly. It was not steady. And I was suffering, really suffering. So we contacted her and she said, I will heal you from here. So she asked me to lie down for 10 minutes. Okay, just lie down. And I was a skeptic. What is she going to do? And literally in 10 minutes, I felt way better. My migraines didn't totally stop, but the intensity was just like it was going to start or it is going to stop. If any of you all have experienced migraines, you'll know. Just before the migraine starts, you have a certain feeling. It got to that level. And literally after 2 months for the first time, and my blood pressure was also absolutely steady. And I'm saying, how the hell did she heal me from Chennai? What is there in this? So, is it really possible to do this distance healing? Is there something in it? No, it beats logic. Okay, but when it happens to you, it is proof that there is something in it. And that got me thinking, and that got me into reading more about the chakras. And then suddenly one of the other things, this mythology question, which was really hassling me, that got clear. So this has been something, this journey of understanding the chakra system has been, to start with, unbelievable as the opening sequence. Okay. And from there, understanding it, I see the applications in virtually everything. If you understand the chakra system, you'll know how to use it anywhere. Okay. So there's a lot more that I can talk about, but that's...
So Sumant, we will continue the discussion on WhatsApp or in a later session. So thank you so much for your talk.
So I am going to give a third talk, by the way, if you allow me. Okay, and that is hopefully case studies of how I've applied some of the stuff that I've learned.
Sure, I think
Okay.
very soon.
Yeah. Chal.
Okay,
See you.
thanks
Thank
guys.
you.
Sir,
Thank you
Thank you
very
all.
much.
Bye.
Yeah.
sir, you mentioned
Thank you.
you'll give the link of the book that inspired you
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah. I
So we'll
will.
put on the WhatsApp group.
But they are students here.
Yeah, I'll send the link across to them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
can share with
No,
her
just,
at least. But yeah.
just type those
One
words.
second.
You
One
can
second. One
link.
second. Yeah. No.
I think it was already shared.
I think
Yeah.
Ashish has already shared the link.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's already shared. It's
Okay.
here.
Thank you, sir.
I can't see it. Where is it?
Ashish Handa has shared.
Yeah.
Sir, I found an Amazon book on it, so
Yes.
yeah, I
Yes.
just shared
This,
that link.
this is the same one. Yeah. Eastern body, Western mind. Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you. Good night.